Alright, so we're doing a tomato review on the African brown tomato. Now, this tomato was doing rock star good all the way up until after the rain came, and then the rain really caused the blight to just go absolutely out of control this year, and unfortunately it looks like this plant is going to succumb to the late blight. And you can see right here it's already killed off this part of the branch, and that's just going to keep traveling downwards until it kills the plant completely. So I need to get that off of there. Maybe I can save that part of the plant, I don't know, but it's just on here and it's just going to keep killing my tomatoes and killing my plants, and there's nothing you can do about it except try to remove the blight. But it's just going to keep coming back, and every time it rains it gets worse and worse. So I did everything I can to fight off the late blight, and there's absolutely nothing you can do except grow this thing inside of a greenhouse. That's really the only way you can avoid the late blight and early blight. So anyway, here's a look of it on the plant. You can see these are nice big copper toned slicer tomatoes. They get around that size. I did lose one due to either blossom end rot or it was blight that got to the tomato. I don't even know. I just know that part of it was rotten and I threw it out. So I would have had at least a little better than a half dozen on here that would have been really good slicing tomatoes. But unfortunately the plant is succumbing to the diseases. And you can see the leaves are just literally falling off this thing. This plant's ready to just give up the ghost here. But that's what they look like. It's a regular leaf type of tomato, and it's just a beautiful plant, and the tomatoes look really great. So I'll bring you back to the bench. Just wanted to show it to you on the plant first and just kind of give you a look at what they look like on the plant, what to expect when you get these tomatoes. This is definitely a tomato worth growing. In fact, I see a hole in one of my good tomatoes over there. It's probably a worm that got in or a bug. But this is definitely a tomato I would probably grow again just for the sake of getting those nice healthy looking copper tone tomatoes. Definitely worth a grow. If you got a blight issue, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you're going to have to go through this just like all of us, so there's really no way to avoid it. Alright, so I'll see you at the bench. Alright, so we're up to the tomato review part of the video, and again, this is the African brown tomato, and I'll show you the inside. Try to give you a good view of that. That's what it looks like on the inside. And here's the whole tomato. Give you a nice good view of the whole tomato. Give you about an average size. It looks something like this. It's a good slicer tomato. The interesting thing about this tomato is it's got like a green on the seeds, that dark greening, which is characteristic of a purple tomato. But this is called a brown tomato, and as you can see, you know, if I bring you up close, you can see the color of the skin is really brown. It's a nice brown copper tone to it. So it's a very nice tomato, and this is the first year I'm growing it. I did get a few tomatoes off of that plant, which you see here, and there's probably, I'll get another maybe 6 off of there, and that's pretty much going to be it. The blight is wiped out the tomato. We just got another 5 inches of rain. The tomatoes are splitting left and right. And again, you know, you can see what happens when you get a lot of rain. This split here originally, but then it split again from another rain. This one got a split on the top. And what happens is once you get these splits, even though it heals over, the mold sets in. And once that mold sets in, it rots the tomato out and they're pretty much garbage. I already threw 1 or 2 tomatoes away from this plant that got rotted because the black mold got into these cracks, and they're garbage. They just soften up and then they're gone. There's nothing I can do with them. So I tossed them. But that's the unfortunate thing with these larger tomatoes and the rain. You will get these cracks. And this tomato seemed to crack pretty easily, to be honest with you. It wasn't like, I think it cracked the first rain. When we first started getting rain after the drought, where it was dry for a while. That first rain that came in wasn't very much. It was like 3/4 of an inch or an inch. That first rain, boom, this thing cracked right away. So it cracked easy. I don't know what else to say about it. The tomato is apparently from Africa. It's also a Solanum lycopersicum. It's a regular leaf tomato. And again, that's all I know offhand. I'll leave whatever information I can find about it in the description below. You just need to click below and see what I write about it. So let's cut a piece of this off and give it a taste test. Now, first thing I want to do is actually do the bricks. I always forget to do the bricks. It's a very juicy tomato, I'll tell you that. Now, these been sitting out for about 2 or 3 days. Not that I needed to sit them out for 2 or 3 days. It's just you can see all the tomatoes in the background where you can't see it, but got a lot of tomatoes in the background I'm doing reviews on. I'm trying to get all these reviews done as soon as I see tomatoes ready because the rain just keeps coming. So they're splitting left and right. Alright, so this is like a 7.5 on the bricks. So that's not bad. That's actually getting into that semi-sweet range. So let's see what it tastes like. There's a nice little watermelon sliver going in. It's got a nice balance in flavor, but when you get down to the skin, you start crunching up the skin, you can taste the tanginess come right out right away. So that skin had a lot of tanginess around it, but the flesh and the seed part had a nice balance to it. This would make a great sauce in my opinion. Let me cut off another piece over here. A very nice tomato, very juicy. The flesh isn't chalky, and it's been, like I said, it's been sitting out for a while. It's not chalky. It's got a nice juice to it. It's got a nice balance, but in the lower range. So the sweetness was, I'm going to say 30, and the tangy was 30. So between the two of them, it was nice and sweet and nice and tangy, nice and mild, wasn't too strong. Very good eating tomato. I would really love to eat this tomato on a sandwich or that kind of a thing. I'd like to also make a sauce out of it. I think it would make a great sauce. But the skins were a little tough. The flesh on the inside is real soft, so when you get to the flesh part, it was really, you got to chew it. But it did chew up, and it wasn't really thin where it sticks to the roof of your mouth. So as long as if you're going to chew it up, you'll be able to swallow it no problem. So yeah, it's a pretty good tomato. I definitely call this a winner. I'm definitely going to grow it again. It's a shame that the late blight kicked in and wiped out most of my tomatoes, and it's just an unfortunate thing. This whole year was just, it was started off great and then turned into a rainy disaster, and it caused all the diseases to come out big time, and we did what we could. So, but still a good growing tomato. It still came in pretty strong. It came in like a bull when I first started planting it, and I put this thing out, boom, that thing was coming up like a bull. It was a heavy, heavy, strong tomato. It just, eventually it's going to succumb to the blight because there's really, you know, there's no way for a plant like this to survive that kind of disease. It's unfortunate, but it would have been a wonderful tomato if it wasn't for those diseases. That tomato would be pumping out tomatoes like crazy. I'm telling you, that this is a very aggressive tomato variety. So anyway, that's your tomato review for the African brown tomato. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.